Welcome to Titocan Solutions. Today, I will be demonstrating how to perform partial correlation analysis in SPSS. In this video, I will explain the concept, walk you through the assumptions, show you exactly how to run the analysis in SPSS, and then show you how to interpret the results. Now, what is partial correlation analysis? Partial correlation is a statistical method used to measure the relationship between two continuous variables while controlling for the influence of another variable. For example, you may want to know whether study time truly affects exam scores, but you also know that sleep could influence both. Partial correlation allows you to examine the link between study time and exam performance after removing the effect of sleep, helping you to see the true relationship. It is especially useful in observational studies where other factors may interfere with the results. Now, let's take a look at the dataset for this demonstration. This is the dataset consisting of the records of final exam score, average study hours per week, average sleep hours per night, and a stress level score measured with a short validated scale. In this video, we intend to use this data to examine the correlation between study hours and exam score while controlling for sleep hours. However, for your data to be tenable for partial correlation analysis, there are certain parametric assumptions that your data must satisfy. They are: 1. Your data must have the same level of measurement. That is, all variables should be continuous scale variables, measured at interval or ratio level, or be treated as continuous. This is because Pearson-based partial correlations assume numeric continuous variables. 2. There must be a linear relationship between the variables. That is, the relationship between the variables should be approximately linear. Partial correlation measures linear association, so relationships that are not linear will not be captured. 3. There must be no extreme outliers. That is, you must ensure that there are no outliers in your dataset, because outliers can distort correlation coefficients. 4. There must be normality for inference. That is, for significance testing or p-values, the variables distributions should be approximately normal. 5. Homoscedasticity. That is, the variance of residuals should be constant because heteroscedasticity undermines p-value accuracies. And 6. There should be independence of observations. That is, cases should be independent and there should be no repeated measures unless properly accounted for. If these assumptions are violated, the results you get when you run the analysis may not be valid. So you must ensure that you pass your data through the various analyses to test for those assumptions before running the partial correlation analysis. But for this demonstration, this data is tenable and we are therefore good to go on with the analysis. Now, go to the menu bar and click on Analyze. From the sub-menu, put your cursor on Correlate, and from the drop-down options, click on Partial to open the Partial Correlation dialog box. As you can see, the variables are in the box at the left. Since our intention is to correlate between study hours and exam scores while controlling for sleep hours, then go ahead and select exam score and study hours per week, and then click on this transfer arrow key to move them to the variables box at the top right. Then select sleep hours per night, and then click on this transfer arrow key to move it to the controlling for box. I can also add stress level to the controlling box as my second confounding variable. But to keep this demonstration simple, I don't intend to use more than one confounding variable, so I will remove the stress level from the controlling for box. Now, click on the Options button to open the dialog box. Under the Statistics section, check the box for means and standard deviations to produce the descriptive statistics, and then check the box for zero other correlations to examine the relationships and produce the results of the bivariate Pearson's correlation without controlling for any other variables. If you have any missing value in your dataset, you can use any of the missing value options here to correct your data. Click Continue to close this dialog box. Now, under the Test of Significance section, ensure that two-tailed option is selected by default. Otherwise, click on the radio button to select it now. Then check the box for Display Actual Significance Level if it hasn't been checked by default. Like this, you have successfully configured the SPSS system to conduct partial correlation analysis. Go ahead and click OK to generate the results in the output window. As you can see, the results have been produced. There are two tables of results here, the descriptive statistics table and the correlations table. The descriptive statistics table provides information of the mean and standard deviation of the correlating variables, exam scores, and study hours per week, and the confounding factor, sleep hours per night. The crux of the matter is in the correlation table. As you can see, this correlation table is divided into two. The top section is the zero-order correlation section, where the Pearson's correlation result information is produced without the controlling variables. That is why none is written here in this section. The bottom section is the partial correlation results between exam score and the study hour per week after removing the linear effect of sleep hour per night from both variables as the confounding factor. That is why sleep hours per night is written here in this section. Now, the relationship between exam score and study hours has a strong correlation coefficient of 0.765, a p-value less than 0.001, and 18 degrees of freedom. This indicates that students who spend more hours studying each week tend to obtain higher exam scores. The strength of the correlation suggests a meaningful and substantive relationship, implying that study time is a major contributor to exam performance in this sample. The relationship between exam score and sleep hours has extremely small correlation coefficient of 0.005, a p-value of 0.984, which is greater than 0.05, and has 18 degrees of freedom. This means that there is no evidence of a relationship between how many hours students sleep per night and their exam performance in this dataset. Students who sleep more or less each night appear to score similarly on the exam, but the relationship between sleep hours per night and study hours per week is also extremely weak, as the correlation coefficient is -0.015, p-value is 0.951, which is greater than 0.05, and has 18 degrees of freedom. This suggests that the number of hours students sleep does not meaningfully relate to how many hours they spend studying. Students who sleep more do not necessarily study more or less than those who sleep fewer hours. On the other hand, when sleep hours per night is entered as the control variable, SPSS reports the partial correlation between exam score and study hours per week after removing the linear effect of sleep hours per night from both variables. As you can see, the partial correlation coefficient of exam scores versus study hours per week controlling sleep hours is 0.765 and has a p-value of less than 0.001 and a degree of freedom of 17. This suggests that even after statistically removing the effect of sleep, exam scores and study hours remain strongly and significantly positively correlated, implying that the link between studying more and scoring higher on the exam is not explained away by differences in sleep. Generally, after controlling for average nightly sleep, the partial correlation between exam score and study hours per week remains large and statistically significant. This indicates that study time is strongly associated with exam performance independently of sleep in our sample, meaning that sleep does not confound study hour to exam score relationship in this sample. If you are running the analysis with your own personal dataset, you may be surprised to see that your controlling variable is a confounding factor, unlike you have seen in this sample dataset. But right now, I've come to the end of this demonstration, and I hope you'll be able to replicate this procedure to run the partial correlation analysis on your own dataset and interpret the result efficiently. If you have found this tutorial helpful, please click the like button, subscribe to Titocan Solutions, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first to receive notification anytime I publish new and useful content. If you would like to ask questions, kindly drop them in the comment section. And if you are working on a real-world project and you need guidance from me, please send an email to asktitocan@gmail.com and I will respond to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking and sharing this video, and thanks for subscribing to Titocan Solutions, a YouTube channel for improving the knowledge of how to do things. See you in the next video. Bye.